Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Malam Go podcasts on Betway's platform. Guys, thank you very much for always tuning in. I've met a lot of you in town who have said you enjoyed the pod. So we thank you for always sticking with us. Please follow us, subscribe, share, and like. Also put on the notification button so that when we drop it, you'll be the first to know. My name is As You Know It. I'm here with this guy, as you know him. I'm here with that guy, Ina, as you would know. And I'm here with the man who brought the Ina into being. Our other person is not around, as you can see. You are part of the family, you know already. We know this. Guys, welcome to the pod.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro. Hi, good.
Yeah, man, Charlie. So the leagues, okay, so we started with, the Premier League has started.
Yeah.
La Liga as well has started.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And
Copa
French
Italia
has started. We've seen some Italian football in the cup. Serie A is just about to start. Bundesliga
is starting.
It's starting
is
today.
starting.
We started the German Cup.
Yeah, the
Last
Pokal.
week,
They're playing the Pokal. Some very
and then
fascinating.
Bayern
game.
are taking on Leipzig today.
My team this season in Bundesliga, as you know, Bayer Leverkusen. My guys, right?
Hagi.
Some brutal. But guys, let me just pick your thoughts. What caught your eye in the opening weekend? Across the football, world.
I like the new rules that they introduced
Where
for
in
the Premier League.
Which one specifically?
The 8-second rule. So Martin Dubravka became the first goalkeeper to be
Penalized for that.
yes. So he held on.
Wait, so what's the rule?
So the rule is that in the past, goalkeepers were allowed to hold on to the ball for 6 seconds.
Pickford.
But referees were never
keep the ball like 10 minutes.
Charlie, referees were never really checking it.
Yeah.
So they've decided that this time, if you hold on to it for 8 seconds, corner kick to the opposing team.
I like it.
Yes. And that is far more effective.
Yeah.
And we saw them implement that. There was the other rule also about the insisting that only captains can talk to the referees. So that is something that they also...
But did they implement it this weekend?
Not necessarily. They've been very diplomatic about it.
That was there since from last season.
But they said that this
they want
time...
to stand on it.
Yes, they want to be staying on it. It was good. But I particularly like the goalkeepers. The only other thing is that if you're doing it, you also need to check for throw-ins as well. Because players take an inordinate amount of time in taking throw-ins. They use that to delay a lot. So you should have a similar rule that in the same spirit, if a player delays after 5 or 8 seconds, the throw-in is awarded to the opponent. They will think twice about it.
I get that. Coach, what caught your eye this weekend? Any game, any action, anything? It could be anything.
For me, of course. You see, I was very bold in my prediction that Arsenal would never get anything from Old Trafford, and I was so sure that Man United will get the job wrapped up, only for me to get pissed off and annoyed by that. You understand? I was like, come on, man. I would have done better.
Where do you stand? Some people say it's a foul. Some say it's a goalkeeper.
Look,
where do you stand on that?
I don't think it was a foul. You and I, all of us here, we have followed the EPL. We followed the EPL several times. We followed the EPL several times. That wasn't the first time that happened.
Yeah.
And I agree
with... He was too weak.
Yeah, he was too... I agree with the head coach of Man United. It's become the rule. So if they do it to you, to go and do it to them. Nobody's stopping anybody from doing it. If you're a goalkeeper, look at the height of that goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Look at his physique.
And that's a point. I even thought
I would have just Zico him quick. Come on,
get away from the ball.
You fool. You
wait. What is this? What's
it called? Zico him. Zico. Male, Zico. No, get out.
Male, what?
Zico. You fool. You want to score me like that? Look at him. He just stood there, man. He just stood there. And then he's trying to slap the ball. And what is that? A similar thing happened when United, I'm sure when they went to the dressing room, Ruben told them, if United get a corner, you to go to Rhea, go and do anything you want to do. You saw that. It happened, but Rhea was strong. Yeah. He came out, he punched the ball.
Yeah.
Bayindi, you are taller than Rhea, bam. You are taller than him. So, he caused the game. But look, I looked at the performance of the team and I said, look, this team clearly will do better than last season. But we need to add 2 more players.
In which areas?
We need to change the goalkeepers. Bayinde Onana, Zuku Banzes.
But you can't. If you sack the 2 goalkeepers, you're bringing in 2.
No, what I'm saying that we need to sack. One has to go.
The first
we need
choice.
to get a number 1.
Right.
No 2 ways about that. I think if United can get that and add the midfielder, as for the midfielder, I don't want them to go and buy anything at all. I don't want it. It's either Baliba or nothing.
We know Baliba is not happening. So
It's not happening. So, no, there could be something, but it should be somebody who is young, energetic, and can do the job.
Right.
Baliba, I know definitely he will come home next season.
Yeah.
Or he will come home.
Many have said it could be January.
Yes, he will come home. He's accepted. The deal, the 12,000 to 120,000. He's not seen some before. He's chop free. Come and take. They are giving 12,000. We say we've added 2 zeros, man. Yes, quick. 0, 120,000.
Quick.
The deed free. He will come and chop. So for me, that was what caught my eye. And then I looked at the world champions and I was like, oh, okay. This is world champion like behavior.
They've not necessarily had proper pre-season.
No. We are not in their world champions.
No,
we are dancing and speaking like the way their supporters are talking. How are they talking?
They're champions of the world.
They're the best team in the world.
Best in the world. So you don't even need to train. Step out there and get the job done. Simple. I looked at the world champions.
Just like the best team in Europe didn't train. They caught Tottenham. Tottenham did their thing and they're
But
like,
they definitely
they used 5 minutes
for them to change and everything.
They changed the gears.
So the best team in the world champions, in fact, they didn't lose, but I was not happy with what I saw. And then Man City, people are saying they are not scary.
It's Wolves, bro.
It's Wolves. They are not scary. This Man City team, I maintain they don't put fear in it. Tomorrow, people will see the way Spurs will play with them. Spurs will
confident Spurs.
And of course, last season they took. I think Spurs was
4.
the team
They
that
give
beat
them
them
4.
one away.
Was it 3?
With the midfielders Spurs have got and the attacking threat they've got, they are not going to surrender.
And they have the Ghanaian magic boy.
Oh no,
Mokus.
I'm even going to talk to him after here. Quick. I'm going to send you some few texts. Paddy, this is the big stage. This is why Tottenham people. This is why you were bought by Tottenham. Just step there. Who is there? Anori, Jemole. Who will come? Never. Jemole. Who will come? What the Jemole? No.
Then in the post will be James Trafford. Tap it in.
Trafford. I have a longer reach than him.
Because let me come to Danny.
I have a longer reach than him. I'm taller than him. Are you not taller than that boy?
You're not taller than him.
I know you are.
Oh, you're not taller. Why are you doing that? If you're not where you go to say top person.
I'm taller than that boy. How tall is he? Look at me. If I wear the boot and the store comes, I'm taller than
I'm deeply rich.
than him. But you saw the boy. He can't. I mean, no wonder they themselves, although they've bought him, how much? 27, 30 million?
Yeah, they are looking for
They're
another
still looking for him.
I mean, it was
They
their
know.
boy. They sent him out. They had the first option to buy. They activated it. And now Donnarumma is on the market. We hear they are seriously considering him.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about. Maybe not today, but it's kind of weird when you're talking about
Maybe transfer
Donnarumma.
deadline day, if by then it has not happened.
Yeah, because City Donnarumma, Pep Guardiola Donnarumma, but we'll talk about it some other time. Danny, what caught you over this opening weekend of football?
It was a foul. You see,
Is that what caught your eye?
the two
What
can
was
be
the foul?
true.
The Cunha, Saliba on Cunha.
No, as for the Cunha,
The
Saliba,
Cunha one,
I
clean-
forgot that one. Clear penalty.
Clean
I
penalty.
agree.
Clear penalty.
Very disappointing.
I mean, that
and to be
referee,
frank, you see,
and don't sit in.
It's-
Let me express my feeling on that matter.
I'll give you the opportunity.
No, wait, I forgot.
Somebody is saying-
Oh, not you. I've pleaded with him. Let me express my feeling.
Okay, go.
Those people sitting in that room, see, those people sitting in that room, look, they are all biased. The VAR people, they are biased. Then they came back to apologize to who? In Ghana, we said,
apologize.
oh, when their boss, who is their boss? That for
Howard.
he admitted it was a penalty.
Oh, great.
He admitted when they brought him back to, you see, when they gave me, I think the evening.
They have
He said it's a penalty.
Yeah. Might or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was with high grips and I think he admitted it's a penalty. You see, in Ghana, they would have received this, I'm telling you honestly.
I mean, I watched the ref watch.
Can't you know what that is?
Yeah.
no.
In Ghana, oh Charlie, You see, those people sitting there, we would have seen this given to them. You continue.
Charlie. No. I'm saying the Saliba on, as for the Cunha one, the
So Saliba
clean
on
penalty.
two things that surround
Yeah.
right now.
See, the Saliba one on Baenda is a foul.
Right.
It's a foul because this is how I look at it. We have seen in the Premier League where goalkeepers come out strongly to claim the ball. When they don't touch the ball but they hit the player, it's a penalty. So if you're a player also attacking the goalkeeper, if you didn't get your head onto the ball and
It's
you
a foul.
impede the goalkeeper in the slightest way, you're not the ones to determine what is strong and what is not strong. He was on his line. If you look at the replay of them facing the ball, Bayenda's right arm, what's his name? Saliba hit his right arm and it lifted. You understand what I'm saying? That is a foul. It's not it was small, it was big. Once Saliba didn't get his hand onto his head onto the ball, his body onto the ball, what was he doing there? He impeded the goalkeeper.
So
Strictly by the rules,
if
it's a foul.
Baenda had zicoed him, they would
It's
have
a
given a
penalty.
penalty.
They would have given a
What I
penalty.
want to ask Danny is, if you're going to take a foul for that, we are likely to have a lot of penalties or free kicks on set, because during those set pieces, there's always holding and jostling.
But that's the essence of the regulations.
You see,
to flag those.
No.
You see,
I think the extent
Situ,
also
it's
matters.
very different if it's player on player.
Right.
Player on goalkeeper inside the 6-yard box on the line. The rules, you can't apply
There are
the
no
same
grey
logic
areas.
to when it's a player on player.
Right.
This is the goalkeeper. If the slightest thing happens, it can affect his ability to get the ball. So then you need to protect goalkeepers in the box, because I don't see why when a goalkeeper comes out in a 6-yard box to claim a ball and he misses it, and when his hand is coming down and hit somebody's head, they'll say penalty. And we've seen it time after week in, week out, we see it. So then, the way they smile, be like, you know what the thing that they talk about. If you hard guy,
Let's go back to Qatar, bro.
let's go back to Qatar. No, you hard guy. But you see, the issue is, no, Sicho is serious guy.
No,
No, you hard guy. You hard guy. I respect you. And if you understand what you are saying, put it in there. If I know you don't say anything.
Drop the comments.
Yeah, quick. See, so for me, the two can be true.
Yeah.
Yes, the
Nah,
goalkeeper should
I
be
think
stronger,
I understand what you're
but
saying.
the rules should have also come to his aid.
Yeah.
And then you see, if we say we are going strictly according to the rules, I'm not even trying to be disingenuous, but the first half, when Dalot lifted that through ball to Bruno Fernandes, he was through on goal.
He was through on goal.
Zubimendi rose up, and it was a deliberate foul.
There was no way I was getting.
There
to
was
the
no
ball.
way he
Like,
was
Bruno
getting-
right in front of
Yeah.
him.
Fouled him. That is a last man
That is
tackle.
a red.
That's a red
That
card.
is a red card.
That's a last man tackle. So then, why is it that in that scenario, you look past it? If you say in the opening week you want to strictly apply all the rules, there's many two should have been sent off.
He didn't even get a yellow.
He had a very difficult game, especially in the first half. Like, he couldn't go physically. He was committing a lot of fouls.
So,
Maybe
see-
settled in slightly better in the second, but he struggled.
My youngers are
I was-
the referees in this EPL.
And
they don't want
it
us
wasn't
to come
it
back.
wasn't even just the United game. This thing happens every season. Where in the opening 10 to 15 game weeks, we see them enforce some of these somewhere rules. By the time we catch December,
Factory settings.
then it's back to factory settings. Then you who have suffered the thing in the opening weeks, no. Now nobody is looking at it again. Last season we saw it. Arsenal faced Man City. Trossard was given second. No, in fact, it happened in their game against Brighton first.
Where
Rice-
Declan Rice.
Declan Rice just hit
Take
the
the
ball
ball,
away.
yeah.
Not even with force. So the ball was there. No. They say second yellow, red card. 2 weeks later, the same thing happened to Trossard. Later on in the season, we saw it. Referee will tell you to calm down, sir. Because you see some of these things, we need to understand that even these only captains will talk to the referee. No?
It's not
Did you see
practical.
that clip? I think it was Bundesliga. The guy went to commit foul. Referee was calling him, and he said, "If he is not allowed to talk to the referee is
Referee
also
can't
not
talk to you.
simple. It's an emotional sport. It's a very, very emotional sport. So you can't tell me that in the heat
call
of the
my
moment,
captain and talk
if
to
somebody
him. You
cut
bloody
me,
fool.
make I go run to my captain, go chook, make the captain before the captain go can't talk. Why can't I flow my mind?
When the captain is, especially when the thing has happened in the opponent's 18 box, and your captain is the goalkeeper. You're
So
the
now I have to go
goalkeeper
and run and
to-
go and report to
General,
my captain.
generally, the way, and it's not a Premier League problem.
I think
It's
they
a
want to
football
control it.
problem. Referees are given too much power and grace. When they make a mistake, the player is supposed to get on with it.
Yeah.
But when the player makes a mistake,
And now you want to punish.
you apply the law to the latter.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense to me. I mean,
but how else
sometimes
can they do it? Because they need to protect the referees.
Yeah,
from
but
some
so for example,
aggression. Like,
look,
I know
get
what you
that.
are saying, but I
I get
also
that.
get why
But
they want to.
Me, I'm saying that if I am the one who has been hurt, or if I'm the one who the offense is happening against,
I should be able to approach.
I should
it.
be able to approach the referee.
even the yellow
Because
card for
that rule is for when players surround the
Yes.
referee. If it's not your matter, like what Victor Valdez used to do,
And
run
what
from
Barca
his
used to do
goal
back
line,
in
come
the
in.
The entire Barca team.
The entire Barca team.
Busquets.
They will go run. They can't do like
look.
the captain and maybe the one who has been aggrieved.
Yeah,
You
they
can't-
need to be.
Yeah, but you can't tell me that somebody has done something to me. I mean, I should keep quiet.
And the Everton game, was it Beto? He went in the air.
Yeah.
He goes down. It's a clear yellow card foul. Referee doesn't book it. He signals to the referee, and he gets booked for calling the referee's attention. Even that, I have a problem with it
They
because
say you shouldn't tell referee.
no.
whether to
What
be
is the
foul or
damage? Wait, what is the
All
damage?
these referee, they
What's
are
the
the
damage
teams
if
they
I ask
support.
They don't influence the referee.
No, what is the damage? Because the referee, if you're competent enough, a player saying give him a yellow card or not doing that signal will not move you.
Right.
If you understand the specific context of the law and what has happened there,
Whatever the player says doesn't matter.
immediately it happens, you know this scenario is a yellow card, this scenario is a red card. So what the player has said, because when you do that, you don't know what is going to happen next in the game. The player might get into another situation that deserves a yellow card. And because of that silly incident where a referee decides to use his discretion anyhow and shows a player a yellow card, that player is sent off. Meanwhile, the player probably throughout the entire game did not really commit any other foul. But the referee may have missed a scenario where one player has been committing a lot of fouls. I'll give you an example. The Casemiro games against Bayern Munich. And the Arturo Vidal incident. Casemiro should have been sent off after about 54 minutes. But yellow card after yellow card, the referee ignores it. Vidal commits the slightest infraction, and then it happens. So then for such scenarios, where's the justice in that? I think, look, referees have become too powerful. And these legislations that we introduce, to a certain extent, it is good. But you also need to acknowledge that there is a human face to the sport. Right? And you see, you are getting to a point where if you say players cannot talk to you, then by what authority do you want to have a conversation with a player?
No, but I feel like I feel like
Talk to my captain.
I feel like the referee runs the game and he has the authority. The referee should have the right to be. I don't think everybody is equal everywhere, and one rule has to apply to everybody. If the rule says that players shouldn't confront,
But the rule has to make sense.
no, I'm coming. If the rule says that players shouldn't confront referees, and the captain should, I get what Danny says, that maybe the person who has been fouled or the person who feels that he's been hard done by should be able to approach the referee and tell him, have a look at that. Did you see that? It's fine. But if it means that the team doesn't confront the referee and then the captain and then the person who has been fouled, whatever, confront the referee, I get that. But you can't also say that because the rule is saying that players shouldn't confront referees, the ref can't pull you aside and give you a warning that, look, you've done 1, 2 here.
No.
The last
They
one.
should
be able to.
Look,
But
should
when
be able
I
to
just
do
said that, if a player can't talk to the referee shouldn't.
No. It doesn't work like that. I think
look, there needs to be gray areas. This rule, what I think it should fix is the scenario where players surround the referee.
I think that's what they're trying to avoid ultimately.
But that's not what is happening. The India situation, he did not even get close
As for
to.
telling referee
and
to
those
give you a
ones-
look at, they don't want their front to take.
I know, but
Ask them to stop.
I'm saying that not just that, but there are scenarios where a referee has given a foul, a player starts running towards the referee, and the referee's because he's
But you know another thing that we don't see or maybe hear dissent.
what they say. Yes,
Sometimes,
No, I'm saying that for dissent.
sometimes it's on the blinds of the cameras on what it's
certain things are said
certain
and
things are said and other. We saw this Bellingham
Yes.
in La Liga last season where he told the referee to F off.
Yeah.
And then he was like, everybody thought that is harsh. But later when we saw the lips and people did the lip reading and realized that those of us, of course, who speak English, we could read the lip and realize he's the F word. Then we understood that maybe it looks harsh, but it's dissent. It's dissent.
Also for Bellingham, there was a train of scenarios. He was doing that every week. Every week and every
England
game.
for no.
You see-
England for party in the day.
you see the fact of the matter is that
Spain, yes,
at the end of the day, I think the solution to all this problem, like Cranton said, the referee should bring some form of consistency to what they do.
That's all.
The rule is the rule. You have to be consistent. How many times have we not seen them apply the same rule differently?
Right.
The moment that becomes the norm, players, for the fact that they are running, they are coming, they are doing this, they are humans and they will definitely respond when something that was obvious there got punished, but something that is obvious here won't get punished. Nobody's going to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
So as they are trying to minimize or completely do away with the players, all the players coming together, rushing on the referee and making life very uncomfortable for him. All they themselves need to do to help themselves is to bring some decent level of consistency to their decision making. If they can do that, why not? We'll have a field game, free game, enjoyable game, and it'll be free of all these what they are doing. But I believe that some of them, they come into the game. Of course, they have their teams that they support.
Hey, Lumo. Anyway, let's move it on. Let's talk about Alexander Isak and his Newcastle team and what has happened. By now, all of you know what is happening with Isak and Newcastle. It's been dragging. And congratulations to Mo Salah and all the PFA, all the players who are with that. I don't think there were any surprises. Did we see any surprises? Was there
not really.
Any player in the list that, and there's Mo Salah's third. Look, okay, before you talk about Isak, are we looking at
Say it, because it's true.
the greatest? What do you think I was going to say?
He's the greatest Premier League player of all
Are
time.
we looking at the greatest Premier League player of all time?
Yeah.
He's one he's the only player to have won it thrice, isn't he?
Yeah, the only player.
I think of his era.
That's another interesting way of putting it.
Yeah, of his era, I think he's the greatest. But if we were to open
Put
up,
everybody together.
yeah, he's won it three. Would he have won it three times if he had been playing, if he had come to play with the likes of Ronaldo, Thierry Henry, and co?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
He would have. Why not?
And
I don't think so.
You see, the only factual thing in this football, the facts is the numbers.
You see,
The numbers will never lie. When I was growing up, they told me something. I was arguing with somebody we all know, small boy, big man. And he was telling me that every generation will always consider
Their generation as the best.
as the best.
Yeah.
So as for that one,
Is there
it is there. There is no way.
the generational bias? You lived it. You
You
saw
lived
it.
it. You
felt
grew up with it. That emotional attachment. Like, I don't think, okay, that one is facts, mom. Nobody will be greater than Ronaldo. But let me let me use a different example. Let's say Didier Drogba. I don't think I'll ever reach that point as a football fan where I would say that there will be another African striker, let's say in this era, greater than Drogba. But they both played in the Premier League. Salah and Drogba played in the Premier League. We have seen the numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
This guy can be racking up. Bro, Salah's worst season was 19 league goals.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Salah's worst, 19 league goals. Look at what he did last season.
And he could have actually won a lot more of the PFA awards if clubs Liverpool were winning the leagues that they should have won.
No, and that even shows how good he is.
people
Because he came in spite of his team not winning the league.
People don't understand me sometimes when I say, let me not share the argument. Let's. I don't want to do.
The point I'm making is that
over to you.
by far the best African player ever to have played in that league. No contest, no debate about that. By far one of the best top talent to have played in the league. I will still maintain the point
In his era.
In his era, he's the best ever. Okay, a player deserving to go into the Premier League Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
As at when he bows out of the game, you have to go there. He's been absolutely and crazily consistent. Some of the things he has done for a winger, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. He's not only scoring, he's creating chances.
That's what I'm saying. And his level of consistency has been so massive that how does he do that?
Yeah.
Or how has he managed to be doing these things consistently, regularly, seasons after season? It speaks volumes of the talent. It speaks volumes of his discipline.
Yeah.
You see, another thing that most people don't know, I read something somewhere about him. I read an article about that says that he's very disciplined.
Yeah, he looks it.
Very, very
He
disciplined.
looks it.
He's a family man. He rests a lot. Because if at his age, how old is he now?
Why are you
33?
talking as if you want to talk to somebody?
No, some people don't rest. As a footballer, one of the better way or the easiest way of achieving beyond your own ability is to rest.
Settling. Yeah.
Rest properly.
Yeah.
And I was told that he's a family man from training.
You see him around. He doesn't have
He's in the house. When you see him
issues
going
around
out,
him.
maybe he's going to pick his girls or his children from school back home. He's got good money. The wife is there. Don't need to do anything. We are sorted for life.
quick.
So it's about the discipline. And for somebody like that, all his energy are reserved for what
the
he
pitch.
does on the pitch. Apart from that, look at the quality of the man. Look at the technique, the technical ability of the man. He's been so brilliant that you want to watch him each and every day.
Yeah.
I remember when he's lived both the transition, the achievement, and he's now part of a new era
Yeah.
of Liverpool. So you say that he's lived three different mechanism
Yeah. And he's been actually
The main man.
the main man in
in each and
all.
every one of them.
Yeah.
And that comes with some
level of
some
skill.
proper level of character.
Yeah.
So for me, look, I wasn't surprised when he won it. There was a time I was watching a video when Gary Neville and Code were interviewing Vidic. And Vidic asked Gary Neville,
How many PFAs you have?
how many PFs are we here?
Yeah.
Zuku Bang
And Gary was like, Did you win?
It's open. I'm the only player,
Yeah,
I'm one
won
of
it twice.
those, one
Yeah.
of 3 or 4
Yeah.
to have won it
It
twice
was Thierry Henry, Cristiano Ronaldo, Mohamed Salah, and then Nemanja Vidic at the time.
at the time.
And now Salah has gone.
And Salah
on
has
to-
gone. And I myself, I didn't know. I thought Vidic won it once.
No, I knew he had
So
won
when
twice.
they went
I didn't
in,
know he was in company of the.
They say Gary Neville couldn't check. He said, look at this man. You can't now all your means of
You know, Gary
checking.
Neville was so.
He was
surprised.
shocked. That Vidic.
No, but I don't understand. You were in the same team with the
sure.
guys.
Some things doesn't. To be honest, around that time, it wasn't a biggie.
That's
You would
true.
win it. You would win it, right? But since that time, it's become a thing.
Yeah.
You know.
So when I heard, I said, wow, Vidic is actually in the class of Ronaldo and Thierry Henry and Salah.
I mean, that's why I don't entertain the argument, Vidic Van Dijk argument.
Oh,
Like,
no,
I don't
forget
entertain
No,
that.
but all day I'll go for Vidic.
Yeah.
So you understand. So for me as an African brother, that is what brings me absolute joy.
Yeah, superb.
You see, these people at times, there were times where they never thought that a talent from this continent can go to the APL and then bust.
Yeah, and the consistency. So I've done what 8-9 years. It's
And
crazy.
And
Yes.
when the likes of, I think Anthony Yeboah was the first attacking football talent
Right.
that got them to sit up, that this continent could
come
bring
on.
something.
All right, now I'm talking about.
But
okay.
Look, Salah is close. Like if you're picking the greatest of all time, you will struggle to name 2 and not name Salah. But the number 1 is reserved for Alan Shearer, especially for the clubs he played for and what he did in those days. It doesn't make sense. I mean, to put matters into perspective, what Alan Shearer did is the equivalent of, say, Harry Kane at Spurs at that time.
Except that he didn't crown it.
Yes. Going toe-to-toe with the Manchester United and Arsenals of that period, because they were the ones winning the league. And I think Alan Shearer did it with Blackburn, right?
Yeah, he
But-
won
but
the league.
wait.
with Blackburn.
For
I hear the Alan Shearer argument.
7 consecutive seasons, 20
No, but
goals a
actually,
season.
hang on.
Yeah.
I hear the Alan Shearer argument. But in the time he was doing it, Blackburn, Newcastle were top 3 teams in the Premier League. They were not the Blackburn of 2005 and Newcastle of 2010.
Yeah, but
Like,
largely because of them.
no, but the team that era, there was no Chelsea. Even at some, there was no Arsenal.
I get you, but I'm saying
Like, it was Newcastle, Blackburn.
But
No, 90s
they
there were-
did 3
90s there were
titles in
Arsenal.
fact 3 years. Second,
Yeah.
second, first.
Yeah,
no, but 90s there
Blackburn
were
were. It's like, for example, it's like an Arsenal striker,
Yeah.
who has scored maybe 60 goals in the last 3 seasons, and Arsenal have finished second, and third. Arsenal wouldn't have won the league in the last 3 seasons, but
Again,
they
I'm
surely
saying
were a
that-
top
I'm
team at the
saying
time.
that, but also the context is important because it is not as if before they came into the team, that was the level of the team.
That was
No, I'm saying that.
Blackburn and Newcastle.
I'm saying
And
that.
then on my sound.
No, I'm saying that at the time Alan Shearer was in those teams,
Mhm.
the levels that he took them to were not levels that were common to them. So they will be competitive. But second in the Premier League, 80s, 90s, 80s largely Liverpool, early 90s Arsenal, then Man United.
No.
So-
80s Liverpool were winning.
Yes.
90s
Arsenal, then
came
Man
through.
United.
Then Man United. But when they were
I'm saying that.
when they were winning,
I'm saying that.
hang on.
I
When they
mentioned
were
the
winning-
Spurs example because
Mhm.
under Pochettino, Spurs were there and thereabout, especially in the period that they finished third.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is the better example.
Mhm.
Not that they were the team that was competing with the team that was winning.
Mhm.
Right. So that is the equivalent of it. Not that you have a set team. So, for example, if what Salah is doing, for example, is he is on a better platform than what Alan Shearer had.
Right.
You get me? And to do that for 7 consecutive seasons, look, 260
I
is.
don't agree.
I don't think anyone is.
Yeah,
touching
Shearer
it.
was not on a better platform.
Salah.
Salah wasn't on a better platform.
How so?
When the Premier League started,
Yeah.
Blackburn were a big team. Oh. Blackburn were
They were
expected to
like-
challenge.
Yeah.
The first
Blackburn
3,
were like-
4 seasons, they were expected to challenge.
Yeah.
1 year.
When you look at Liverpool's, it's not
They-
every year that Liverpool have mounted a proper title challenge. Yet, because of Salah, you can say because of Salah, they have reached,
Yeah,
they've been
yeah.
there
But
and
I'm
thereabout.
saying that
But Blackburn
same
had money,
argument
oh.
here, I'm saying that the difference then, the projections that people were making then, and what we are alluding to today, was largely because of Shearer. And you can
It
see
wasn't Shearer.
you can see the
Blackburn
evidence.
were rich, oh.
You can see the evidence of that in the performance levels when he moved on. Newcastle the same. You get
It
me?
wasn't- look,
it's
in
like
the
when you
90s,
take-
in
it's
the
like when you
90s,
take-
Blackburn, Man United, Newcastle,
Yeah.
they had the money. So it wasn't Alan Shearer who
but
was
you see,
making
those teams
Blackburn
were-
a good team.
The teams that Shearer played for were at best the third force. At
No.
most, they were
No.
look the years
He
that
won the league with Blackburn
Yes.
once. I
I'm
think
saying
was
that the
in
years that-
90
The first
93,
season,
the
they
first
finished,
season-
I think, third or fourth.
Yes.
the years
Then
that
the
they finished.
second, they won it in the third season.
Yeah,
They finished
yes.
second, then first.
First.
And they were
You
always
know what will
there,
kill the
like
argument? Can we
consistently.
all agree that in the years that they finished in those places, it was the surprise rather than the expectation?
No, it wasn't a surprise. No,
It wasn't a
They were,
surprise.
look,
you-
it's like City finished. It's like Arsenal finishing third this season or finishing second last season. It wasn't a surprise. They had built a team good enough
to be
to
there
be
and
there and
compete.
thereabout. It was not surprised that Newcastle and Blackburn were in top 4. That's my point. Like that was their level, and to be in the top 4 consistently for a period,
and
you needed
it-
those
it-
kind of
with them
players.
cancer.
It was
Yeah.
like, had it not been for United,
They would have.
They would have-
absolutely.
For me,
that is the way it
Yeah.
was.
for me, I see the value in that because yes, they always had the money, but it was Shearer who took them to those levels. So you can make the top 4, all right. You can finish.
No, we haven't taken
But
anything away from Shearer, to be honest.
who
Yeah.
gets you over the line for me was Shearer. And they didn't go broke overnight. When he moved on from those clubs, they still had the resources, but you could see a significant drop. And that's why for me, and-
actually, look,
Yeah.
93, 94, the Premier League started.
yes,
Blackburn finished second with 84 points.
yes.
Newcastle in third with 77 and Arsenal in fourth. Man United won it. Leeds United were in fifth. So then if you check, say this 95, 96, for
I
instance.
mean, that was the year they won it. Oh,
No, Man United won it.
Okay.
Newcastle were in second. Liverpool came third. Aston Villa came fourth. Blackburn had dropped to seventh.
Yeah.
Then in 97, Man United, Newcastle again. So look at the teams: Man United, Newcastle, Arsenal, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Chelsea. That year, Blackburn went all the way to I think 10th or something.
But
Then
then,
in
Shearer had
98,
left.
Yeah.
But
yes,
then he had left.
in 98, but Newcastle were
Yeah, we're
in,
still
yes, in 98, then Arsenal came, Man United, Liverpool, So then in 99, obviously, Man United.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that if you look at 94, even from 90 to Newcastle, Blackburn, then they're in and around because they were rich.
Man U at the time were the only team.
Team Nue, then they. But I wanted to move away from this conversation and talk about, because of time,
Okay.
and then talk about Alexander Isak and the Newcastle relationship. Now, Alexander Isak on the day of the PFA, he actually was the best striker. He was in the PFA 11. So then he wasn't at the ceremony. There were news that he wasn't going to come to the ceremony, and eventually he wasn't there. Then, right as the event was ongoing, he released a statement on social media, and the Newcastle responded. I just want to read the statement to the hearing of all those who, I know all of us here have seen the statement to the hearing of those who are watching and doing the listening on all the platforms. So this from Alexander Isak, after which I'll read the Newcastle response. He said, I'm proud to be recognized by my fellow professionals with a place in the PFA League team of the season for 2024-2025. First and foremost, I want to thank my teammates and everyone at Newcastle United who has supported me along the way. I'm not at the ceremony tonight. With everything going on, it didn't feel right to be there. I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. That silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, and even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors, the reality is that promises were made, and the club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if these issues are only emerging is misleading. When promises are broken and the trust is lost, the relationship can't continue. That's where things are for me right now, and why change is in the best interests of everyone, not just myself. This from Isak. Then Newcastle read the statement and people started calling the Newcastle boys that, have you seen what your boy has said? They said, oh, let me check. So they went to check. So they called me to check if it was to verify. And so they told me to release the statement. Then they sent this one to me. So this is the one they sent to me on my phone before they published it. You see, letterheads have not been clear.
Yeah.
It was work in progress. So this is what they sent to me. Okay. So they said that this from Newcastle after Isak released his statement. We are disappointed to have been alerted to social media posts by Alexander Isak this evening. We are clear in response that Alex remains under contract and that no commitment has ever been made by a club official that Alex can leave Newcastle United this summer. We want to keep our best players, but we also understand players have their own wishes and we listen to their views. As explained to Alex and his representatives, we must always take into consideration the best interests of Newcastle United, the team, and our supporters in all decisions, and we have been clear that the conditions of the sale this summer have not transpired. We do not foresee those conditions being met. This is a proud club, a proud football club with proud traditions, and we strive to retain our family feel. Alex remains part of our family and will be welcome back when he is ready to rejoin his teammates. So Alex issues a statement, says promises were broken, there's no trust, and for him, it's the best interest that both parties move on. Newcastle said no promises were made. Whenever you are ready to join, you can come and join. There's a strong family feel that they keep. Then let me start with you with all this Isak, Newcastle standoff. Where do you stand on this? In all this?
I've heard his statement. Look, even if promises were made, there's a way you conduct yourself as a player. This standoff between himself and look, at the end of the day, once you sign the contract, you are bound by that contract.
How many years does he have left on the contract?
3. I think 3, yeah. Once you sign a contract, you are bound by that contract.
Yeah. You have to respect it.
If your employers come and they make a gentleman's agreement with you, the gentleman's agreement doesn't overrule the contract. It is still up to the person who has agreed, because the agreement on paper is for you to spend 5 years with the club. When you were signing, you didn't read. So you know that you are bound by that contract. The only way that your employer would feel even obliged to allow you or to honor that gentleman's agreement is based on your character. So if this whole standoff, for me, he's always going to lose. And you see, this is the Premier League. Maybe because he came from Spain, he doesn't understand the power dynamics of the Premier League.
The buying club will just enter, go and pay release clause.
Premier League teams get money.
Yeah.
Somebody is telling Man U they don't need their 100 million.
Yeah.
Like, there's money.
A mid-table club.
And this is a Premier League team that is also being run by Saudis. You the joke. You think it's Liverpool's 150 million that will move them? They don't care. So, for me, his attitude is a serious red flag for me. And to be frank, if I were Liverpool here, this thing I'll even watch it twice. Because if you are Liverpool and you genuinely think that this 25-year-old is going to spend the rest of his career at your club, then you are joking. He's clearly a very ambitious guy. In fact, look at Isak's moves. Look at the moves he's made throughout his career. The time he go Dortmund, no, he went there as like a wonder kid.
Yeah.
We all expected him to break into the first team. But then he went to Sociedad. The Sociedad want to, in fact, after the second season in Sociedad, the one I think he banged the 13 goals. No, he was pushing for a move in one of the top clubs in Spain. I think it was either Barca or I've forgotten, but I think it was Barca. When the team know far, where he base, when Newcastle come with big money, the big projects, and he accepted to join. So he's clearly very ambitious. Now, if he goes to Liverpool, ask yourself, after 2 banging seasons, Don Ferentino, and you know the knock safe, he just do it. You know.
Contract will die there.
Quick. So he wait for you, ask him to sign for some 3-year contracts or 4-year, or 3 with option to extend 1 year. Then when it's over, he'll come. Or maybe 1 year left, then he'll come and put some money be down. Do you really think he will not treat you the same way? So, for me, I will not condone his attitude. And at the end of the day, you, me, nobody can say they've seen the gentleman's agreement. The only one we see is the contract.
And that's my point. If there was ever that agreement, then your agents have done a poor job, like really, because by now they should know that loyalty in football means nothing.
Yeah.
And things rapidly change in football. So put that whatever agreement that is on paper. Actually, let me come to you.
I think Isak is slack.
That is on bars.
He's slack.
Slack.
Look, because, and you see, like you said, Daniel, I love the point about power dynamics in the Premier League. Not just that, but the power dynamics at Newcastle itself. The woman or the baby girl who reportedly convinced him that we can have a gentleman's agreement without putting it on paper. No, she bounced.
Yeah, she's gone.
There was a coup last year in the Newcastle ranks. The woman was forced to offload her minority shares.
Yeah.
So she is no longer in the position to execute that gentleman's agreement, assuming without admitting that it even happened.
Not just the woman, the sporting director.
Yes.
Like everybody. So the club is being run by Eddie Howe.
They've changed everything.
Making the big calls. Like
what they should have done was insist on getting that written. So that is your security. Because as we speak, your contract is your security. That is what enjoins the club to pay you for the services that you offer. And for me, wherever you stand on this, you cannot in good conscience say that Isak is right to say he's not going to train, but they should pay him. He's not going to play, but they should pay him. Now, the key question I'm asking in all of this is, why has he not handed in a written transfer request? Because if indeed you say you want to go, you have 2 options. Convince Liverpool to put the money on the table. And here's the thing. The earlier reports from David Ornstein was that Liverpool were told 120 million is where they will start the negotiation from. 150 is what they will settle for. So Liverpool were told. But Liverpool came and offered 110 million. I don't think 110 million is insulting. However, if we have quoted a price to you and you come and bid 110 million, you are acting in bad faith. Then it looks like you're not taking us seriously enough. So I can understand why Newcastle immediately dismissed that offer that came, because it's not like this one wasn't, we are testing the waters. They had informal talks. And based on those conversations, Liverpool made the offer. The offer was below even the starting points for the negotiation. So that in itself was a red flag.
Is Isak also deliberately doing what he's doing to devalue himself? Sometimes players do it like,
he will lose.
I won't train, that I won't play.
If
Newcastle should sell me, then
if he
Newcastle
does
like,
that,
bring 100 for a player.
And that's where I'm coming to. If he does that, he will lose. Because, and here's the reason Isak is not putting in a written transfer request. If he does that, he forfeits his loyalty bonus.
Yeah.
Now, this week, former Liverpool striker Stan Collymore has given us some very insightful take on player contracts and how they work in the Premier League. Apparently, when a player signs a Premier League contract, they receive the residual value of the contract. So the fact that you are transferred does not mean the amount that is remaining is not paid to you. I was shocked to learn of that, but he posted, everyone can check Stan Collimore's Twitter. He's posted a sample of those Premier League contracts without names and without figures, but how essentially they are structured. So what happens is that if a player is being transferred and I still got a year or whatever, some duration remaining on their contract, there is an agreement that the player has to go into with the club on a new payments plan for what remains of their contract. Apparently, when you are transferred, it doesn't mean that because you stop paying for the club. It doesn't make sense to me. And I really, really doubt it, because the way I see it, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but you are paid for the services you offer. If you are no longer offering those services, I don't think the club should be paying you. But according to Stan Collymore, this is how Premier League player contracts work. If that explanation is true, it means that the loyalty bonus is not going to be just a few hundreds of thousands of pounds or a few millions that we typically know. Isak's current contract is £6 million a year. That means for the 3 years remaining, because we're at the beginning of a new financial year, right? Because you just have July and August. August has not even ended. So we can count those 2 months in addition. For the 3 years remaining, Isak stands to earn £18 million. Now, the convention and actually the law in a lot of these contracts is that if you hand in a written contract, a written transfer request, you forfeit that loyalty bonus. And in fact, the rest of the, because you are the one asking for the contract to be terminated,
relieved of your,
so that you can go and sign that new deal. So this is the explanation for why Isak and his lawyers are not prepared to hand in a written transfer request, because he wants to train. He wants to not train and get paid for free. He doesn't want to play but get paid for free.
I mean, he's trained, but not with the team.
Not with the team, so it doesn't count.
It counts.
No.
He's training at Newcastle's facility.
Because the club, he's training at Newcastle.
Yeah, he's
oh,
returned.
okay.
He's returned now.
You know he had returned.
No, he's returned.
But
he's returned to Newcastle.
Essentially, Isak wants to keep his £18 million.
But when the boys train in the afternoon, he train mid-morning. The boys come and train in the evening. He train at night.
He will meet his boys.
Why are you going to meet them for?
So essentially, this is what the boy wants to do. And look, Daniel has explained the people who own Newcastle United. Their thinking is not the Newcastle of last year. They don't want to be seen as a selling club, or the ambition they had in the beginning has not changed. They just want to grow organically. But it doesn't mean that they want people to have that impression that they are a selling club. That is not what Newcastle United want to do. And that is why if he jokes, he'll be laughing at the wrong side of his mouth, because they have just had a bad summer. But they will learn lessons from this. Those vacancies are going to be replaced or filled one way or the other. I mean, Paul Mitchell is not going to run the show in perpetuity. They are going to set up a proper football structure. And so going forward, they will replace players. They are going to improve the squad. Maybe this year they will suffer small.
Right.
But they know exactly where they are. They know they will suffer without Isak's 20 goals that he scored for them. But it is a bullet they are prepared to take. Is Isak prepared to sit on the bench for 1 year? Is he prepared to stay at home forever? And here's the thing. That 12 million is on the condition that he fulfills his obligations, right? That they pay him. If this thing continues and he decides that he will train, but he will not play, Newcastle are not stupid. They can take this matter to court and decide that they are not going to pay you for the period that you are playing, for the period that you are refusing to play. After all, the payment is directly tied to your performance. And that is why when he improves his performance, he gets into the position to ask for better terms.
Yeah, well, he's asked for to be paid close to 300,000.
You've asked for, but you don't want to play.
Seem to want to, yeah.
So look, Newcastle hold all the cards. If tomorrow they have a change of heart, they can wake up and say that, you know what, he's not worth the trouble. So Liverpool, you come and pay some 130 million, or come and pay some 140 million, and then we'll give him to you. But that is their decision to make. Look, this thing that is happening. If
to wrap up for me, let me come to coach.
The whole reaction to it, people have been free to speak because it is Newcastle. If it is a Liverpool player doing that, everybody condemns the player. If it is a big club whose player is refusing to train, how dare you? Manchester United player, and you will say that you will not train. You won't play for the club again. Liverpool. If they want to do business, they will find a buyer quickly and move you on. But if they decide that we are not tolerating your nonsense, you will rot on the bench.
Right. Coach,
You see,
what do you make of this whole Isak, Newcastle, Liverpool, triangle, not playing? We can't pay this
I
much.
think,
Newcastle, everything.
Granting and Achu they've dealt with it. I want to look at the last part of the two letters.
Statements.
Right.
Somebody says
Right.
it's best.
Let me just refresh the memory of so Isak says that when promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship can't continue. That is where things are for me right now. And why change is the best interest. It's in the best interest of everyone, not just myself. The Newcastle are saying that this is a proud football club with proud traditions, and we strive to retain our family feel. Alex remains part of our family and will be welcomed back when he is ready to rejoin his teammates.
Unfortunately for Newcastle, and fortunately or fortunately for Isak himself, you can't force somebody to be your family. I think they have to sit down
And then resolve it.
and get him to leave. Because at the end of the day, it's a bit insulting to the rest of the teammates. I don't want to be in the same dressing room with somebody who doesn't want to be there. That's the way I see these things. I don't want to be
You want somebody who is 100% committed to
committed to the cause. And for teams like Newcastle United, Barcelona, and co., if this was the other way around, Newcastle wanting to sell the player, whether the player likes it or not, he will leave. So when a player also wants to leave, let him go. I believe strongly promises were made. Promises were made by the then hierarchy of Newcastle. Because even if you read that letter, did Newcastle state categorically that no promises were made?
Yes, Newcastle
They
said
said
that.
no
Newcastle
official
said that.
of the club.
Newcastle say.
That's a very smart.
Newcastle say.
And that
no
is
official
where
of the
It
club.
doesn't, it doesn't necessarily mean that no promise was made.
Yeah.
that is
But
it.
currently the official then, you know,
It's you see,
and
if
it wasn't official. So,
no, when I read that,
Isak said it was behind closed doors.
I could clearly tell that those two parts of the letter, Newcastle is not telling the truth. Is Newcastle the sort of team that will just speak by heart? You don't just come out and promise and not term it official. Absolute nonsense. When you go to the law court, you see where you are. Did you say it? You said it.
I mean, verbal promises can
I promise.
as contracts.
Exactly.
To some extent.
It's contractual. So if you read the two letters, for me, I don't condone what Isak is doing, his behavior.
But you understand what
But I believe he's the one speaking the truth there. Because Newcastle, if they were very bold in their statement, they should have said, we didn't make any such promise. But when you say no official promise,
They said no official,
There's no official promise
of the club.
There's no official of the club
Made the-
promised him.
Which
is it-
essentially is to say
They
that
said that we are clearing our response to Alex under the contract and the commitment has ever been made. Okay, so and no commitment has ever been made by a club official that Alex can leave Newcastle.
that's very definite.
by which
Alex,
club
Alex didn't also say.
That's right.
Alex didn't also say that a club official said maybe he could.
He said Newcastle
promises were made.
made.
He didn't tell us what promises, whether it's money, whether he can leave.
That's what I'm saying.
It was vague.
Look.
But Newcastle are telling us that no promises about him leaving were made.
This summer.
Yes.
And the fact of the matter is that the Newcastle hierarchy, you and I know, have changed.
like drastically, like everybody
It's
was-
changed.
Yeah.
So maybe to the new people in charge,
You're not aware.
but to the old people.
So it's the same Newcastle.
That's what I'm saying, that the best person in my view to speak on this matter is the manager.
right.
Because,
We'd have been involved in.
yes, of course.
They have actually spoken today.
And what did he say?
Said
If you
something.
can.
So he was asked specifically
Ate.
if conversations were had. He says, yes, me and Alex had conversations towards the end of the season. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. I've always
That's
said
right.
that individual conversations are better off remaining private, but we had conversations at
That's
the end of the
right.
season.
That's right.
But you see,
That's right.
on Isak himself,
So
I think he would have just
Go ahead.
continue. The moments, because July last year and August this year is a long time. the moment I'm understandably moved in July last year, he should have taken concrete steps to seek assurances or clarification.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
But you see,
It
is
is
very-
very know if it was necessarily Amanda who had that conversation.
Is
You
it-
don't know for sure.
yeah.
You see, so this is the one who is telling the truth. This
There was
man.
a conversation that was.
There was a
and you're right.
conversation.
You said that the manager is the best person to.
Yes, he's the best person to comment on the
But
matter.
this doesn't specifically say the nature of that
No,
conversation.
but
it doesn't.
he's admitted it's a personal
Isak
conversation.
didn't also specify the nature of it. It was
Exactly.
Newcastle who said nobody told him he could leave.
Yeah.
But Isak hasn't said you told me I could leave.
Yes.
Maybe Isak wants to leave because you told me
But before
if I
this-
finish a top goal scorer.
You see-
Or maybe if I qualify the team,
you give me 300k.
Let's
Now you don't want to give me the 300K.
not pretend the guy has not played politics. Before this, the earlier reports that came of the promise came from Isak's camp. In fact, even the journalists who reported it, if I want to be cynical, you can trace a line between them and Liverpool. The Athletic. David Ornstein works for Athletic. Athletic is owned by New York Times. New York Times is a Fenway Sports Group.
You see,
No,
Actually,
no,
group is
but
Liverpool.
actually, no, that's a stretch.
actually, that
It's
you
a
are
matter.
you
I'm
are
just saying-
stretching it
I'm-
No,
beyond.
that's a stretch.
I'm just giving you a train of the information
Yes,
flow.
those ones.
And the
you
peop-
see,
But
You said-
these
you-
are reports.
Yes, you
But
said that.
Isak's statement is clear.
Yeah.
And Isak didn't say that Newcastle said I could leave.
Tishu, what
Isak
is the-
is saying that trust
Can I ask you
and
a question?
promises. No, I'm coming. I'm going to land on this one.
I get that. I get that. But can I ask you a question?
I'm coming.
Okay.
Isak is saying that because promises were not met and the trust is broken, we can't
it's
continue.
better
Okay.
with the.
Well, it doesn't mean that he desperately wanted to leave and you don't
Yes.
want me to leave.
Okay.
It means that maybe you're supposed to give him something.
something should have been done.
So
My
now,
question is-
let me go.
My question is this. Throughout this saga, what is the one consistent reason we have been given for Isak refusing to train?
Achu,
salary.
No.
No, injury. He had a thigh injury,
No,
that's why he
no.
couldn't go. And then second thing is Newcastle, he was demanding Newcastle to pay him close to 300,000. Newcastle said per the reports, it would break their structure. That was after the season ended.
That was even way before. I'm
Yes.
talking about this saga.
Yeah.
When this thing started,
Mhm.
and the very first reports, when he said, that came after he said he's not going to play for the club again.
Yes.
Was it not about the refusal to let him move? That was it.
No. At that time, Newcastle have not said they were not going to let him move.
No, I'm saying that the explanation we got from the journalist who reported this about why he had refused to play for the club again was because the specific promise of letting him leave. That's how the whole
I don't
Amanda
think
Sterling.
so. I think
Uh-huh.
that from what I followed is this. He said he had an injury. Obviously, he could
Yes.
have had an injury. What I know is at the end of the season, he was demanding a contract.
No, you're
renewal.
missing the timeline.
I'm coming.
You see, that's why
At the end of the season.
wait.
Now, I'm coming to your timeline. Then he didn't go for preseason because Newcastle said they were
Yes.
not going to renew. Newcastle set a price tag for Isak.
Yes.
To be honest, Newcastle even said in their statement that the financial commitment to get him out of the club
Has not been met.
and they don't think it can be met, which means that if any club comes with 150k,
They'll let him
150
go.
mil, Newcastle are ready to let him go.
But you see, you're confusing
Newcastle
the
have not
thing.
said they won't sell him.
Wait.
But for
You're
all,
confusing the thing. The question I asked you was to establish a fundamental point.
Yes,
The narrative around his refusal to play for the club again
yes.
has always been on the specific promise of letting him leave this summer.
I don't
for all
think so.
you know,
I'm coming.
look,
I've not.
you let me
That's
talk.
why.
I was
Okay,
the one
let's
talking.
coach finish.
for all you
I
know,
want us-
for all you know, that was even the conversation that the manager
Was
himself
referring to.
is referring to.
Right.
So we cannot entirely rule that out. And we cannot entirely rule out increase my money or give me a new contract. I want to take this amount of money and all that.
It could be many things.
It could be many.
You could have promised him a car. Look,
What I am
footballers
saying
are
is
putting
that,
on the roof.
what I'm saying is that if you read that Newcastle statement, you read what Isak had said, Granting just read
What the coach has said, and it fits into what you are saying, coach.
clearly there were.
I mean, you be coach, so you know how. Coach.
I told you that the coach is the best person. I said it before even this. So for me, simple.
Yeah.
Don't attempt to overprice him. There's a value for him. I think anything within the range of 110, 130 million pounds. Liverpool themselves have stabbed themselves in the back by going to pay that money for Florent Vers. If you Vers at all. How much money did they pay for him?
116 million.
116. So go and give Newcastle 130, 135, 140
Yeah.
and let him go.
Right.
They shouldn't do anything to. If you listen to what Isak has said, it's gone beyond repairs.
Yeah.
For me, if I don't trust you, I will not even sit with you.
So you train with under 23 for the rest of the season.
No, but you also don't, because at the end of the day, he's an asset.
Charlie, they
He's
have
a,
cash.
you see,
No, but they have
no,
money they can't spend.
you see,
Let's not make that.
you see, they have cash they can't spend. How much money do
You
they
think they
bring
don't
in?
know?
No, what
They
I'm
know.
saying,
That's
you
what
know,
they do. That's what- no,
that
they
is
care.
what, you see, it is not a matter of care or I don't care. What I'm saying is that you two don't do anything to devalue the player.
Yeah, because it's still an
Because
asset.
whether they like it or not, he will leave.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be the
The bottom line.
you
is
cannot
leave.
force anybody to be your family.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't force anybody to be your friend.
I've got.
So that is my take on the matter. Sit down with Liverpool. There can always be a middle ground
Gentleman's agreement.
that we can all agree, and then let all this saga, let him go and play his ball. And Newcastle is an institution
Yeah,
bigger
to
than
live
Isak.
on. Absolutely.
To live on.
My quick take on this one is simple. Loyalty in football is bollocks.
Completely bollocks.
And a simple example I'll give you is this. Chelsea are not even adding Nicholas Jackson to their Magic
Can you
squad.
imagine?
Last season, Chelsea told Trevor Chalobah,
Get out.
Ben Chilwell didn't train. He didn't play until January when he went to Newcastle. Now, when football clubs, and this season, Man United, Anthony, Malacia,
Rashford.
Garnacho, Rashford, Sancho, they're under contract, just like Isak. But the club is saying,
Go. We don't want
we
you.
don't want to see you at preseason. We don't want you to train with your teammates. Look, we don't want you to be around
They have the
canteen.
right to do so.
We don't want the right.
Don't they have contract with
Yes,
the boys? They do.
They're under contract too.
But they can
we don't
do
want
that
you
to
to
them.
be around the first team. I don't want you to be around the canteen. I don't want you to be around the locker room. Their locker rooms have been taken from them. Their jersey numbers have been taken from
Yes.
them. And this is a football club,
Yeah.
right? And we have several examples of football clubs who have done same to players,
Exactly.
right? When the clubs don't want you,
They'll force you out.
they'll treat you basa. So for me, I'm not condemning what Isak has done, but that is the sport.
Yes.
That is the game. Loyalty
him go.
doesn't count. So when the player doesn't want to stay at the club,
Let him go.
they also feel like, okay, I won't also train. Just like if the club doesn't want the player,
They would have
don't
sacked
train with the
him.
squad. How is it that Jackson was Liverpool, Chelsea's
Top
leading
striker.
only a couple of months ago? Even going into the Club World Cup, he was
He was
the
their main man.
couple of weeks on. The guy can't even he's not part of the. He's not injured. Though.
They're
He's
driving
not
him
part of the
away.
Madrid squad. He's Garnacho.
They did the same thing to the one who went to Atletico Madrid. That English boy.
Gallagher.
He was their captain.
Bro, so football, when it comes to loyalty and treat the under contract,
No.
the
If
club do it to the players.
they do it. So let
And the
them play.
players also do it to the clubs. Now, here's the thing. Newcastle can play big boy all they want. They are big with who owns them. But as a club in 2025, they are not as big. And here's the thing. You don't even have a replacement for Isak because all the players who were going for...
Have all turned you down.
They've gone to bigger clubs.
Yes,
That's
they
the
rejected
statement.
you.
You Newcastle want to buy Wissa. And Wissa is doing what Isak is doing to Brentford.
To Brentford. You don't see anything wrong with that.
Wissa is doing what Isak is doing to Brentford. Listen,
Pepper.
the money Brentford is asking for you to pay.
You
go
don't.
to undercoats.
You go to
The
undercoat.
same thing Liverpool have done to you. You've done to Brentford. So nobody is a saint in the sport.
Yeah.
Because Newcastle are saying
The
Liverpool.
only saint is the contract.
They only say thank you. But then we also
even
know that the
even
Saints
that-
don't even respect the contract.
Yes,
the clubs don't respect the contract.
yes.
And the players are trying to go against the contract. Otherwise,
Exactly.
why is Garnacho not in the Man United group? Why is
Man
Jackson-
United have
he's on the
contract with
contract? Why is he not training with his teammates? Why wouldn't he play on
And
match
Jackson's
days?
not training with the team.
He's not playing. He said he won't play.
Who?
No, but he's training with
Oh,
his team.
fair enough. He's training.
Who?
Jackson.
So the outcast, no, they train alone.
Yes,
So,
Jackson is not
Sterling-
an
No, Jackson
outcast.
is not an outcast. He
He's
trains the
training
team,
with
but
the
he's not on the match day squad. He won't play.
Mm.
But it doesn't make sense.
And we all know why he won't play. They want to
They
ship him
want to
out.
move him out. So I'm saying that for me, the Klaus and the Isak Gassen Naba, and he's a player, so we are saying it. But we've quickly forgotten what Klaus like Man United, Klaus like Chelsea, Klaus like City, Arsenal. What did City do to Kevin Phillips? The boy sat on them like they
No,
will
but
treat
he
you
go
basa.
Obolo. That one no be there. He go Obolo.
No problem.
But you see,
No, so no,
there is a. I get the point you are making.
yeah.
But these things, they are not always the same. Clubs often
What makes
want
it
to
different?
Wait, clubs will only want to get rid of a player for two things: if they are not performing or if they misbehave.
It's
Hold
not
it,
true.
hold it, try the double.
It's
Like
not
that-
true.
that-
I can
that-
give you very real example.
I like those 2 points.
I
like those 2
like,
points.
it's not entirely true.
Newcastle United for Alexander Isak, they are not performing as much as the teams he wants to go to. Who determines performance?
I'm coming.
It's relative,
His
actually.
behavior. Newcastle United, you've lost all your your sporting top brains, you are promising that you're going to bring in some players to make the team more competitive for league titles and things. You've not been able to deliver.
Elanga.
So Isak says there, and you're look at this.
I read the quote from Ibrahimovic.
Then you should not have signed the contract.
No, he said
Yes,
promise that
no.
in the next 3 years
Sicho.
we will be competing for league titles.
Sicho, the contracts, there are two ways to it. I perform my obligations by creating the environment for you to come and perform. And then on top of that, I'll pay you your money. The players is to come and perform. If the club checks its metrics and realizes that this player or that player is not performing, they move them on. There are rare circumstances like the Chelsea one that you've mentioned. How many clubs in the Premier League freeze their players out?
A lot.
When they want to move them out. They are far between few.
How many times?
For a whole year.
But how many times have you seen players behave the way?
As I said, I didn't say they don't happen. I'm saying they are far.
How many players behave this way?
That's why I'm saying it should not happen. Because Sicho, you the player, even if you say the lack of ambition, there is a way to do that. If you say the club is not signing players and that you don't want to play for the club,
but the clubs too, if somebody is not performing, there's a way to ship the person out.
But I'm saying that this example you are using, it is not an everyday thing.
But the
player is not an everyday thing.
But let me wrap up. I'm saying that Newcastle shouldn't play big boy because this season, Newcastle, you are playing in Champions League. You are competing for the league. The last time you were in Champions League, your league performances suffered.
Yes.
Because you couldn't manage it. As we speak, this Newcastle team can't cope with the demands.
They can't.
You don't have a striker as good as Isak. Even on the market. They don't
even have a striker.
All the players you wanted to sign and bring in, they were not better than Isak. They were not upgrade too. They were like Isak at the time that he was coming. So you are now coming to rebuild the Isak thing. So Newcastle, you are setting yourself back for maybe some 2 years.
And Isak doesn't want that.
And Alexander Isak. So I'm saying that both parties will lose.
See, I don't want to.
Both parties will lose. Isak, whatever happens, I think Newcastle will sell him. In the end, Isak is likely to go to Liverpool.
Yeah.
By the time the transfer deal is done, he goes to a better club. He's a brilliant footballer. I think he will flourish. But what this whole drag has done to you, Newcastle, is that every team in the world knows that desperately you need a striker. So the monies that they are quoting for you people, you don't even want to pay because you have money in principle, but you don't have liquid. So you want to pay 20 million for Isak.
And they've heard how much you've also quoted.
You've heard how much
for Isak.
Alexander Isak. So Newcastle as well, if Newcastle had, maybe last season, Newcastle bought Ekitike last season, and Isak too was there. Isak is good, it's not playing. Ekitike is playing, he's firing. Newcastle can fold their arms. Ekitike day. But Ekitike, you wanted him this season. He's going to Liverpool. You wanted Sesko, he's going to Man U. You wanted Joao Pedro, he's going to Chelsea. You want Wissa, you don't want to pay. So for both parties, I won't sit here and say Isak no try. And Newcastle too, just as every football. Take an example. Look at Rodrigo. They are desperately forcing him to
look
leave.
at what has that boy done?
But
he doesn't. He won't. They're desperate, like deliberate. They won't say Rodrigo don't come.
Look at what they did to the great captain Harry Maguire.
Bro,
see,
look at they happy. So I told you,
this performance and ambition thing. You are saying to me that because Isak was told that they are going to build a competitive team, making the Champions League twice out of the 3 years that Isak has been there is not good enough. Isak, in his heart of hearts, genuinely believed that within the 3 years that he will be there, because he's now approaching his third season, Newcastle would have done far better than 2 Champions Leagues in 2 years, in 3 years.
That's what I'm saying that Isak doesn't also see the signings that Newcastle.
But this is the best day. Not just the signings. I'm not even looking at it. But
he's looking at it.
Wait, but when they made the Champions League, who did they make the Champions League with?
They need to improve.
The first year that he played.
So they should still remain there.
I'm just saying that they have shown that they can do it within a limited context or a specific context.
He doesn't want that.
I'm saying that process. He came through it.
As for this point,
look, I read the quote.
You can't. Isak's viewpoint of Liverpool cannot be your viewpoint.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, next time when you are signing a contract,
put everything inside.
Read it. Put everything
the fact
inside.
is, I read a quote from
It's under contract. You should go and play.
He said Isak is Swedish. and he has bigger shoes to fill. The Sweden people sees Isak to be the player to fill. He, Ibrahimovic, in shoe where he left for there. Ibrahimovic take Carabao Cup winner.
He no be young way go feel the shoe. He be Jokeres, he go feel the shoe.
So the fact of the matter is, Isak cannot be playing for
He's mad.
Newcastle.
And there's also a
Waka.
with Newcastle.
He's mad.
Where Newcastle is, and the town city Newcastle doesn't necessarily attract. And Newcastle, see, if Newcastle was a London club, or that's why Man United and City like they tried. They tried.
Yeah, we go where them day pa.
Bro, if it was a London club, or it was the pool would have been different. But bro, it's Newcastle. Yeah, class is small. But let's move on. Let's talk about the games coming up this weekend. And get the predictions out of the way and then quickly bounce. All right, so the game starts with West Ham playing against Chelsea. By the time the recording is out, I'm sure this game would have been done. But yeah, please tell us, because we are recording on a Friday. The game is today. Yeah, just so you know. West Ham Chelsea. West Ham have had a post. Quick guys, quick predictions.
Straight to win Chelsea.
Chelsea get the win.
Coach, West Ham Chelsea.
I expect Chelsea to win.
Okay.
Clearly, they cannot behave like they behaved last weekend.
Then we have. Let me skip this one. Let me go to Brentford and Aston Villa. Villa away from home.
Yeah, Villa to win. Brentford, look.
Danny.
I think the opening day nerves are off. The shackles should be off. And Brentford without Buemo, without Weiser, without Norgard and all those guys, they lost.
Brentford, Aston Villa.
Villa or draw.
Bournemouth against Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Bournemouth
at home.
Danny.
They look at what
Bournemouth
saw.
will win.
Bournemouth will win.
Semenyo to score again.
They need to defend better.
Burnley Sunderland. That sounds like championship.
I really want to watch this.
Sunderland will win.
But Sunderland, they make some
Charlie,
sense.
them
Sunderland
fire.
will win. Then go win.
Look, the squad they have, it's
They make some
like
sense.
that. It's a top 10.
And I like what they're doing. They're not trying to-
I think it is a squad good enough to make sure they don't get relegated.
Yeah, and I like what they're doing. They're not trying to play. They are playing typical English football, like brutes going long. They're not trying to be fancy. You know, like we saw from
That
Company
Adama.
and Daniel Farkas Leeds.
That's why they will Saka.
All right, Arsenal Leeds.
The Gunners.
Your man is injured for like 3 months. Hi.
Don't worry. Eze is home.
I like the Eze signing. We didn't even speak a lot
See,
about it.
your man, he has to win the league. No question marks.
Why?
Now he has the squad too.
I think he has.
He has the squad too. Like
No excuses.
Excuses no day.
Strike
Like
that way,
what
get
else?
it.
But you don't be serious.
No
Yeah.
excuses. Oh, no excuses.
He has to win the league season. Why Liverpool no day? Man City no
We
day.
don't care.
Man
They
City
know
no day.
They don't. In fact,
Man U has to win the league. There are no excuses.
We don't care.
Man U has to win the league. No
Arsenal
excuses.
Elite will win.
Eh?
Arsenal Elite.
Man U has to win the league. No
Arsenal
excuses.
Elite will win.
The league champions will win the league. Man U will win the league. That's what has to happen.
Mikel Pulis.
Coach, after seeing Arsenal play against Man United, are they going to beat Leeds straight away, or you think?
I think they will beat Leeds because that Daniel Farker man.
You don't trust him.
I don't trust that.
What's his name?
Farker.
Daniel Farker.
I don't trust because
Start
I don't know,
with
but
business style, baby.
he
You
would just
Jokeres will open his
chop
square,
like
man.
fire. Ah, he
Charlie,
just got a trick.
but that injury means there is no hiding place for Gyökeres.
no, but who expected him to come and hide? He should go and perform.
Oh yeah, but yeah.
He cannot be behaving
I
like
even think
last week.
Ateta will be slightly happy because there wouldn't be pressure on him to necessarily be substituting him by heart,
Yeah.
play him through, build a team around him and everything. Everton will play against Brighton.
Everton at home.
Everton, their new stadium, the first game.
I really want to
Everton
see
win.
that.
What's the name of the place now?
Everton win.
It's not
There's no. I don't think it's good. It's
Everton
not
Stadium. Everton Stadium.
Everton Stadium.
So now we have an Everton Stadium. They
I
moved
think
to
in the highest course.
it.
Yeah,
All right.
I think in the
Crystal
highest
Palace will play against Forest. That should be a good
Hey,
one.
that should be a good game.
course. Charlie, all of a sudden, the Palace team is beginning to look depleted. If Guehi also moves on.
I think he will go. I think he will
And-
also.
and-
leave.
and
Yesterday,
make no
Glasner
mistake,
didn't.
Watson could leave as well.
Yeah, this summer,
Yeah, probably. If my United are keen on building another midfield.
Charlie.
I think
Stuff of dreams, eh?
they are keen on the goalkeeper rather.
Yeah. So who wins? Palace at home, Forest away.
I think
Leaning towards
Palace.
a draw.
I will because
Under 2.5.
yeah.
Leaning towards a draw.
Under 2.5. That is what under 3 goals. 3 goals or less.
Yeah. No, less than.
Less than 3 goals.
I think Forest has brought back the former Villa midfielder who went to Juventus.
Yeah, Douglas
Douglas
Luiz.
Costa.
Yeah.
If he
Yeah,
steps
Douglas
in
Luiz.
there and
Yeah.
he recovered.
But Charlie, they've really done well for Nuno, because since that press conference, they spent 110 million pounds.
Yeah. We complain small. No?
Charlie,
And they brought
But they should have done
Mari
this-
Hutchinson.
Yeah.
From
Ipswich.
Yeah.
guy,
But-
that guy
the
could
Chelsea
be
boy.
good.
So
Yeah,
they've signed about 3 wingers, and I suspect it is because they are about to move on the former Chelsea winger,
Hudson-Odoi.
Hudson-Odoi.
To where?
Who is interested?
I don't know, but I think he's got about a year remaining on, 18 months or so remaining on his contract.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And usually when teams start stacking up options I don't think, because each of those players is going to be on a decent salary.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Fulham will play against Man United. Fulham at the Craven Cottage. Man United have a very good record at Craven Cottage. Even
I expect them to.
Amorim won the.
I expect them to go and win because they cannot lose 2 in a row. If you look at the games that are coming, there's a game against Chelsea, a game against Man City, a game.
yeah.
Man United first 8 games include the top 4.
Yeah. So they should. This is a game you expect them to win, actually.
They have to go and win.
They need to.
Bayenda
But will they?
I
But
think
say
they,
Onana
I
is
think they
back.
get it over the line.
No crime,
In the past, it's been one. This is exactly the situation that sets them back and they never recover.
Yeah.
So after that performance against Arsenal, it only has credibility if you kick on from it.
Exactly.
If you solve the set piece problems. Look, Amorim needs to be careful. Against against Fiorentina, they consider a very funny
Players
goal from the corner. No. That one was purely an issue of instruction because they all moved to one side.
Who win this game?
United.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let me come to you. Who win?
United will win.
Then
They have to win.
11:30 kickoff, Man City Spurs.
Charlie, it's tough, oh. But no lie. You see that they say Rodri and Foden are back.
I said some clubs they lie about injuries past. Rodri was supposed to be back after 3 months or something.
He's back, but I don't expect him to play. I mean, if you go and put him there. Look, I think Spurs will test them. Spurs, I mean, for some time, they've been the boogie side to this Man City team. Since the days of Mauricio Pochettino.
They can match every Premier League match.
If they clear, they can match. Because these guys,
the dynamics
that's
they have in there, Sa, Palhinha,
and I think one
Bentancur.
thing that is going to be evident too, the Man City midfield,
Yeah. Ain't no gel yet.
they don't have legs. So
Bernardo Silva and Nico Gonzalez.
that Gonzalez and Bernardo Silva combo.
I mean, I don't know why your man they do so.
They don't have legs. So.
If I play Mateus Nunes,
No, you don't. You know
what
what?
do I-
He said
Trust
you will.
Also, Nimbo Nyansa.
But after
Mateus
he
Nunes, that thing Bernardo Silva they do right now.
Pep
He'll
has
do it
said
way
it
better.
himself. He says the guy is not intelligent.
Didn't have to play midfield.
But that thing, you know, for us.
Very,
Like-
if any other coach you talk like, people they
Charlie.
blast them by the a very damning Charlie.
No, but
So,
you see,
it's
the
a
thing
game I
say,
really want to.
You don't know pass him. You see, that's what comes
no,
with
no,
the
no,
game.
no,
Like
no,
if
no,
Ferguson
no,
talk
no,
something,
no,
who
no,
are
no,
you
no,
to
no,
win?
Okay, I don't disagree with the assessment, but the way he
He's Pep, bro.
He say you are
Pep,
too
he talk
fat. Everybody
Pep, bro.
think it's normal.
that one was evident. That one, everyone
Bro,
could see
he's
the boy was
Pep.
fat.
Was it Premier League title 4 in a row? Was it 6 in 7 years?
You
Who
can
be you?
insult everybody.
Who be you? Was it treble twice with 2 different teams? Who be you? Okay. So who's winning that one, coach?
The
Man City, Newcastle. Man City, Spurs.
slight edge to Man City, but don't be surprised if
Spurs have
Spurs.
said that.
I think Spurs sneak a point.
You said it was tough, but who do you settle on?
I think Man City will win slightly though.
Slightly. Then Newcastle, Isak Derby. Newcastle, Liverpool.
Yeah, but
At the St. James's Park.
When Monday,
Monday.
Do you see what he did in the press conference when they asked him about Isak?
What is it?
He says he expects Isak not to play. He had this foolish smile on his face. Like,
slot.
But the place, St. James's will be rocking. Newcastle don't have a striker and everything. That's why for me, I think
Some things saying, you don't use tactics to play.
psyching.
Bottom line is Liverpool concede.
Then you
So
play up
now-
by-
It's up to Liverpool to break down Newcastle. That's the thing. Liverpool, 2 competitive games this season, they've conceded 4 goals. Throughout preseason, they've been conceding for fun.
yeah.
So as for that defense there,
But Gravenberch is back.
but this guy, this one, the rapper, no, Jeremy Frimpong,
Yeah.
he hit.
Oh, isn't it?
Yeah, he's
But
injured.
Bradley
is also-
also fit.
Yeah. So
he said both wins.
Joe Gomez.
Versus Harvey Barnes.
They go put Harvey Barnes for
Some
the,
things-
that boy.
You don't use
The former
it's
Everton
not
boy.
about raw tactics.
Psych.
Newcastle go score them,
Mm.
Monday night, St. James's Park. Because of you, our player is not playing. You don't know Newcastle.
Coach, you think Newcastle will do it?
I am leaning to, but the problem is who puts the ball in the back of the net.
I think Liverpool have got too many goals in them. Newcastle don't have a lot of goals in them.
That it may come down to that because maybe if you take the lead, you'll be defend. But with
There's Mo Salah.
there's
Kitiki started well.
Ekitike, and then this
Gakpo.
guy Gakpo, look, he's brought his preseason form into the league, and he's showing how big a player physically. When he's on the ball, you don't
powerful.
easily brush him off.
Yeah.
He picks the ball and then does what he wants to do with it. I think I expect it to be a difficult game. I would not be surprised if a similar thing from last season. You remember last season they drew 2-2.
Yeah.
I will not be shocked if said something like that.
Actually, who's winning now?
Liverpool edge it. I mean, this is set up for exactly the way Liverpool are going to win a lot of games this season. They will concede, but the firepower. And I think Slot knows it. He's not going to expect to go into that game and not concede. And not concede a goal. But they would have too much for Newcastle in the end.
Right. I'll give you all 1 minute each. 1 minute each. Talk about Eze to Arsenal. I think it wouldn't be fair on Arsenal fans if we don't talk about what does it bring to the team, coach? That Arsenal already doesn't have. What does it bring to the team that takes Arsenal closer to their ambition?
I don't know where Arteta is going to play him because I don't think he will occasionally, if there's an injury to Odegaard and Co, he can come in the middle and do his thing. But I think he'll be looking at the
Martinelli
ball
side.
at the left, and then but Arsenal too don't have that natural left-footed fullback who has got the ability to go on the overgo. Eze will not go; he will cut on it. Right, we want to come and play those intricate passes and then shoot at goal.
Merino.
So I'll be waiting to see what Arteta does. But I think he's a quality player. There's one thing I don't like about the boy. His recovery rate, his work rate off the ball is completely zero. That's why I've never been his fan. But on the ball, he's an absolute delight to watch. But I don't go in for players like that. I want players who, when not on the ball, you help your team defensively. So I'll wait and see how Arteta will use him his first. If Arteta can demand, because now he's gone to a bigger team, a team that when he walks into the dressing room,
spotlight on him.
Yeah, walked into the dressing room. There are players well accomplished than he himself. So when you do that, your mates are working, so you have to work. If Arteta can bring that up, that aspect of his game,
If Thomas Frank can make Kudus work, like we've seen him, Arteta should be able to do.
Then he should be able to work.
Actually, what does he fix? What does it bring to the Arsenal team that Arsenal fans can be excited about?
Quality on the left. As for the hard work thing, I have no doubt in my mind he will adjust. It's a step up. He will adjust. I mean, at Palace, everything had to go through him. So he would have that liberty not to track back and all of that. But Arsenal, he will adjust. What he brings to the team is that quality on that left side. Actual goal-creating quality that Martinelli was not always providing for the club. And you see, he doesn't always need to score, but creates the goal. Maybe stretch the opponents, come shots and combine. Edge of the box area, combine, sets up the striker, play that pass into that channel for Gyökeres to run into. And he needs to adapt very quickly and to suit Gyökeres, because Arsenal don't have time to wait for one player to adapt and then before his also. The team doesn't need that. This has to be a plug-and-play signing, and I think he has all the makings of, look, when he's not playing on the left, he is also, we saw him at Palace, one of two turns when himself and Olise do that. If Arteta wants to rejig the team in the absence of Odegaard and accommodate him in a more central role, it does. With him, go for the league title, Arteta.
Danny, is it another piece in the jigsaw that pushes them closer to?
Yeah, he basically raises the level. He raises the level. It's a solid signing. I told you he will come home. I agree with Coach. I'm not 100% a fan of him because he can be very frustrating sometimes. But I will choose to put that on the team he was playing for. When you are like Jack Grealish at Aston Villa, when everything goes through you, you can have that tendency to slag off a bit. But at Arsenal, he would know that every touch is important. And to be frank, he has the ability. He has that awareness up front. And I think he'll create a bit more. He can score also. So he's definitely a very good addition. He's an upgrade on what they have in Martinelli and Trossard. I'm just hoping that Havertz will come back sooner rather than later.
I'm asking
Because-
about Eze. No, you can't chip in Havertz. What has Havertz got to do with this one? I'm not asking
No,
about
but
the
you
entire
asked-
sports team. I'm asking about what Eze. Okay,
Brings to the
No, you said you see.
Havertz.
No, you said you see the jig to the puzzle. So the puzzle is what I'm.
Havertz has been there for 2
The
3
puzzle
years.
no be there. No, you see, it chill.
So you finish on Eze. You talk about the Havertz and I want to hear.
I'm saying that
Mhm.
Havertz coming back
Mhm.
gives us more options.
Okay.
We saw on Sunday, Gyökeres know the seat up.
Yeah.
He bring Havertz, hold that play, taking the ball wide, the strength, the intelligence. Those things are very necessary. If Gyökeres is not seen top or he's tired and you have to effect a substitution, the profile of player who is coming in for him is completely different from himself. So Arsenal will have to adjust,
Yeah.
which could affect them in games. Maybe you are leading, you need somebody to hit the ball up front, hold that play. Gyökeres is tired, he can't do it anymore. Who is on the bench who can come? That's why I'm saying that Havertz to hurry up and come back so that, because the way the thing they check, like, no, what coach has said is very important because of Eze's likelihood to.
Drifting.
No. Because of Eze's. No, because Eze they like cutting.
Yeah.
We need, and it's very true. You need
Somebody
a,
can make that.
so maybe we'll shift Merino to left back. So
Who's
that
Merino?
Mikel Merino. But I tell you, say the time we dey need strike, I tell you, say he go be the first 9. We chat to. Need the attitude with the chat.
You have Tomiyasu, you have Zinchenko,
No,
Tomiyasu.
you have Calafiori, you have
Louis
Kelly.
But I know say Kala no they do that thing. Giddy. Louis Kelly no they do that thing.
Yes.
Zinchenko some way. Zinchenko who play for Arsenal again. That guy is Zinchenko. Did you see what he wrote in his book? Zinchenko.
What did you write?
He dey do some victim this thing. Say if he go ask in wife no dey fit watch him because he know they played and things. Why he better pass who? Zinchenko no he better pass who make
Why
you
not
play.
if you watch her?
He can't do. He dey take
fire. If you want
he dey fire. He dey fire too.
Or your chin.
He
Is
don't
it
be
why
serious.
if you watch him
He
because
say
you
in
play?
wife no dey fit look in face. Say because if he come, you know they play where he know say the thing they pay in wife, but in wife the wife no dey fit talk.
But not be so more your wife will hold you then look
And
your
they
face.
shock. May you go ask Morata. The
That's
time
why they
Morata
talk
they
Salah
shout for
is
Chelsea,
okay.
no be wife you way they hold am.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining the pod today. As always, drop your comments on all the conversations you're having, and even more. We appreciate you that you keep watching us. But remember to subscribe, to share, to like, and push that notification bell as well. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Enjoy the weekend of football. We are back here again for the next episode of Malam Go Podcast. Cheers.